Today, we're going to be ranking the worst SMG in every single COD Zombies game. The criteria for this video is going to be the point generation, damage, accessibility, ammo, and ease of use. So without a further ado, let's get right into it. World at War. In general, there are really good SMGs in this game. The worst one, in my opinion, is going to the Type 100. This SMG isn't really that bad, it's just inferior to every other SMG in this game. It isn't a wall weapon, so it isn't the best when it comes to accessibility. The damage is alright, but when compared to the PPSH, MP40, or the Thompson, it just isn't that good. The ease of use is, again, alright, but not that great. One thing I don't really like about this gun is that the ease of use isn't good when it comes to how this gun handles or feels. The recoil isn't too bad, but I don't like the iron sights for this weapon. It just feels off. The problem with this weapon is that the PPSH exists in World at War, so why would you spin the box for this gun when you can just spin a few more times to get to PPSH? Even when it comes to points, I don't think it's that good of a weapon because the fire rate is slow in comparison to the PPSH, and when it comes to wall weapons, the Thompson shares similar stats, so I don't know why you would ever go out of your way to pick up this gun. If you are low on points and you hit the box and this is the only weapon you can get by for a few more rounds, but with the low ammo and mediocre damage, I won't ever recommend anyone to go out of the way to get this weapon. So for that, we're going to be putting this as the worst SMG in World at War. Black Ops 1. The worst SMG in this game is going to the Spectre. Now, this SMG is once again not that bad, but it just lacks the accessibility and ease of use compared to the other SMGs in this game. An SMG is really useful in the early rounds for helping you get points since the damage is low and the fire rate is really high, as well as having a really good mobility. All of these traits provide the easy ways to earn a ton of points really quickly. And the Spectre does share some of these traits, but the problem is that it isn't accessible. When it comes to SMGs in this game, you have the MP5K and the MPL, which are both wall weapons that deal more damage, have more ammo, and a better fire rate for making more points. So I don't see why anyone would ever pick up the Spectre. Especially when it comes to Black Ops 1 guns in general, they just have very poor ammo, and the SMGs are no exception. Most of them, like the MP40, MPL, and MP5K, are saved from this low ammo situation because they are wall weapons, but with the Spectre, it fell hard solely because it isn't. And compared to other wall weapons in this game, the Spectre is by far one of the worst. The only guns that I could think of that are just as bad or worse are the really bad ones, like the China Lake or the Law. Overall, the Spectre is slightly worse than the MP5K and MPL when it comes to damage, ammo, and ease of use, which I would be fine with if only it was a wall weapon. So for that sole reason, I have to put this as the worst SMG in Black Ops 1. Black Ops 2. This game is very similar to World at War, where there are a lot of good SMGs in this game, but there is one that stands out as being the worst in comparison to all the others, and that is the Chicom. When it comes to ease of use, this is both one of the worst, but also one of the best. On one hand, you can move around really quickly with this weapon, which can be pretty useful, but on the other hand, it's a 4-round burst weapon, which doesn't only hurt its ease of use, but also the point generation. It deals too much damage in one burst, meaning you won't get the most amount of points with this gun. It is also more annoying to use a burst fire in zombies. Not only is the ease of use really bad, but this is also the only SMG in Black Ops 2 that is not a wall weapon, so it loses a lot of credibility for that as well. Compared to other SMGs in zombies, it's just not that good. There are very good burst weapons in zombies, but they are very few and far between, especially when it comes to the SMG class. The only burst SMG that is good is the Daemon in Black Ops 4. but even that gun has its own set of problems. The Chicom does shoot pretty fast in comparison to other burst round weapons, which I do appreciate, but with no available wall weapon or reason to use this gun past round 15, I have to put it as the worst for this game. Not a bad SMG, but it still is the worst in comparison to others in Black Ops 2. Black Ops 3. For this game, we will not be including any alternate ammo types since I just want to take a look at the base stat of each of the guns. And when doing so, the Pharaoh stands out as being the worst in this game. It is yet another burst fire SMG, yet I'd argue that it is miles worse than the Chicom. Now with Black Ops 3, every SMG in this game is a wall weapon, not including the ones that they added later on as DLC weapons. So in that sense, the Pharaoh does have some redeeming qualities, but in general, you most likely won't ever use this gun. It is very cheap for a reason, and that is because the ammo, fire rate, and damage are really lackluster at best. Since it's a burst fire SMG, it also sucks when it comes to ease of use and point generation. And worst of all is that it's on Black Ops 3. Most guns in this game are really good or slightly above average, but the Pharaoh is one of the few weapons that doesn't quite reach the bar in comparison to the others that this game has to offer. Not only does the damage, ammo, and rate of fire suck in comparison to SMGs, but it's also bad in comparison to other weapons in this game. If you want a cheap weapon to use your alternate ammo type abilities on, you're gonna have a better time using the RK5 or the Shiva than this gun because those wall weapons are cheaper and far more efficient. If you just want a good gun in general, you're gonna have a better time picking any wall weapon that costs more than this SMG because they aren't that much more expensive and they're also a lot more efficient. The Vesper is really good with points, the Kuda is really good with ease of use, and the VMP is really solid all around. So I don't see why anyone would ever pick up the Pharaoh over many of these other options. For these reasons, we have to put the Pharaoh as the worst SMG and possibly one of the worst weapons in Black Ops 3. Black Ops 4. Most bullet weapons in this game get completely outshined by the Helion Salvo, and since they changed the way that you get points for this game, I won't really recommend using SMGs in this game at all, but if you end up finding yourself having to use one, the one you should avoid at all costs is the Switchblade. As cool as the name sounds, this SMG just isn't that effective when in game. It was a DLC weapon that was added in much later in this game's life cycle, so it already loses a lot of points for accessibility since you have to get it out of the box. Not only that, but when it comes to the damage and ammo in comparison to the other box weapon SMGs in this game, like the Daemon or the Micro MG, it just isn't that effective. I also just don't like the way that this gun looks and feels when you hold it. It feels like a pistol with a really long stock, and the way that you reload it just feels really odd. There are some other bad SMGs in this game like the SOG and the Cordite, but the Cordite makes up for having a good amount of ammo with certain operator mods, and the SOG is a wall weapon, and a weapon that you can also spawn in with, so it does have a lot of accessibility compared to those other options. Not many people use the Switchblade, and if you have, you most likely quickly got rid of it for lacking firepower in comparison to a lot of other bullet-based weapons in this game. So for that, we're gonna have to put the Switchblade as the worst SMG in Black Ops 4. Black Ops Cold War. There are a lot of SMGs in this game, and the thing with Black Ops Cold War is that a lot of the criteria that we have for this list doesn't apply to any of these weapons. Accessibility doesn't really matter because you can spawn in with any gun and buy ammo for any gun at any time. Points don't really matter because every gun gives you the same amount of points depending on where you shoot the zombie, and ammo doesn't really matter because you have attachments to increase it. So based on damage and ease of use, I ultimately went with the UGR. Now, many of you probably don't know what this gun is because it was one of the last ones ever added into Cold War Zombies. I haven't used it that much, but when I did, it wasn't the best. The fire rate is really bad, so is the recoil and mobility compared to a lot of the other SMGs in this game. Even compared to other weapons that are heavier like some of the ARs, the ease of use with this weapon is just bad. Now you do have explosive rounds that you can put on this weapon, but it decreases the ammo a lot and makes it to where you have to constantly reload. Not only that, but the base damage that this gun deals isn't even that good to begin with. And since the fire rate is still really slow, even after you put on the explosive rounds, it just doesn't make for a good weapon overall when it comes to killing zombies. In Cold War Zombies, Treyarch made it to where you can use any weapon and have success with it, but there are a few guns that are bad even with the Cold War systems, and this is unfortunately one of those guns. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up this video for today. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, do all that. Leave your comments down below if you want to see me do any other type of content. Check down the description as well for more zombie related videos. And yeah, I got nothing much else to say, so peace.